All right. Hello, everybody. This is Leo Brady with AMovieGuy.com. I am super excited to have the director and also co-writer of his new film, Acidman. I'm here with Alex Lehmann. Alex, thanks for being with me.
Howdy, it's really nice to be here.
Yeah, this is great. I like to start my interviews off, and it's a big, broad, got to go back in time question as to how you originally became interested in movies, maybe as a kid or as a teenager. Tell me, like, what was your upbringing like, where your family would maybe, how would they show you movies or watch movies with you?
Man, such a good question. So I grew up in France mostly, and then right before the third grade, I moved to the U.S. in the suburbs of Philadelphia,
Awesome.
and it was like beginning of summer. So for like the next 3 months before school started, I didn't know anybody. But my next door neighbor, this guy Andrew,
Yeah.
I really wanted to be friends with him because I was like, there's a kid, like I got to be friends with him, otherwise I got nothing this summer. He was really into watching movies, and making movies with his mom's camcorder. So I was like, if I'm gonna have a friend, it's gonna be this way. So
Yeah.
his favorite movie was Jaws. He would watch it all the time. I was like, I'm watching Jaws. That's my favorite movie. And then yeah, the camera, the mom camcorder thing. I was like, all right, let's do this. I'll do movies with you.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of, that's how I got started. And I think that ever since, it's always been, as much as I like making movies to connect with audiences, I also really like making movies to make friends. I don't know, like the experience of making films with people has always brought me a lot of happiness and connection, and it all starts with making that first friend in Andrew.
That's awesome. I love that story. That's interesting too. You talk about like making connections and having relationships. So this is your fifth film now, and it's your fourth that's kind of a two-hander. So you have more or less, you've certainly established sort of a style of your filmmaking, a style of storytelling that you like to tell. But what interests you about making movies sort of about these singular relationships, about two people connecting, and how that relationship sort of can evolve within the narrative?
Well, that's an excellent question, but I'm going to first deflect with a joke.
Okay.
So, which ruins the whole premise of the joke. I'm still trying to figure this comedy thing out.
All right.
But so my first film, Asperger's or Us, which is a documentary, was about 4 kids on the spectrum all trying to like connect and find their people. And I'm
Yeah.
realizing that I could George Lucas the shit out of that, take 2 of the kids out of it, and then I would only have 2-handers, which is probably what I want to be known for in my life. But no, I didn't purposely make all these 2-handers, but and I didn't purposely seek to make these films that were all about characters finding connection with each other, but
Yeah.
clearly revealing itself as a theme. And my characters are always, one of my characters in my films are always this like older lonely guy. I think I'm very afraid of the idea of loneliness. Not being alone, just feeling lonely. You can
Yeah.
feel lonely in a sea of people, right?
Yes.
Loneliness is this like existential thing. It's not just a situational thing.
Right.
And connecting with people is my remedy to loneliness. And the more I learn about other people and empathize with other people, actually, the more I make it about understanding them, the less lonely I feel, which is such a weird concept, to go out of my own head and wants and needs and make it about someone else. That is what brings me joy. So I guess it's in my DNA as a person, and so I've accidentally gravitated towards those kinds of stories and characters. And I don't know how to do murder mysteries or anything like that. Because to me the mystery is not who killed someone. The mystery is like, how do we connect? How can I, a very different person than you, I don't know where you grew up, I don't know what your background was, I don't know what your favorite food is, whatever, but like we have completely different experiences and different blood and DNA and all that stuff. but I just want to connect to you. How do I, so like, where are those invisible tethers, and how do we create those bridges? And yeah, I guess I like doing that in life. And so I'm by extension doing that in my films.
Yeah, well, I mean, and you're successful at it, honestly. I mean, all of your films really have a great sort of sensitivity to it, a great sort of heart at the center of it all. I wanted to sort of ask you about the writing process with Acidman. I mean, you haven't written all of your films, but this one you co-wrote with Chris Dowling. What was that collaborative process like for you? You know, and sort of where does the Nugget come from to bring this sort of idea to life about this father and his daughter reconnecting?
So the nugget of the Acid Man story, I got some skin in the game on this one with my own father. This is not an autobiographical film, but there's some stuff there. But I wanted to work with Chris partially because I mean, I don't want to get into details, but politically, religiously, we have different beliefs. He's a Dallas Cowboys fan. I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan. Like, we're wired to hate each other, and
Right.
yet we find all these ways to connect, on human levels that are just more empathetic and fun and curious than just like, oh, you're different than me, or oh, I feel threatened because you have different thoughts or beliefs than I do.
Yeah.
And so um, when we start when the script really came alive and we realized that it needed to be about this question of this guy Lloyd who believes in these UFOs, and but it's about these blinking lights, and like, do they mean something, do they not mean something? I mean, that could be, that could be an analogy, a metaphor for QAnon or heaven or whatever. It could be,
Yeah.
more toxic or less toxic or whatever. But like, we just found this like really beautiful way of exploring, like, what is it when somebody is into these beliefs that you don't totally get, but you love them, and you don't, and if these beliefs don't really hurt you, then like, should we just kind of put them aside, or even like, I don't want to say placate them, but be curious about them, because this might be how we communicate, right?
Right.
Um, and so yeah, finding someone who was so different than I am, to co-write this with, I think made it an exercise that just on a meta level, it just kind of, we found it on the script as well.
Yeah, man. I absolutely love that. I mean, it kind of makes me want to skip a little bit to one of my questions, because it's it's interesting subject matter, and it's quite a universal sort of like story of dealing with a parent or somebody who believes in UFOs or conspiracy theories, but this is a true reality that people have to deal with, right? I mean, is that sort of the major sort of message at the end, is just that like the reality is just that you might have a parent who believes in UFOs, and you have to, that's your parent no matter what, you know?
Yeah, by the way, or friend or child or brother or sister or whatever.
Right.
It's I don't have to explain what the world is like right now. We're all feeling it. We can all it's just, we're all struggling with it.
Yeah.
The reality is, like, we can't change other people, but we can choose to find ways to connect with them.
Yeah.
And it's really not productive to just criticize other people, and or to just stare at someone and say like, man, I don't get you. Like,
Yeah.
great.
Right.
Well, you want to try, or you want to just sit here with your arms crossed, right? and
Right.
and um and I understand that a lot of times it's daunting, and maybe feels pointless, or just not worth the effort. But when you really love someone, you do have to be more curious, and you do have to let go of your own quote unquote truth, to a certain extent, and at least be able to put that aside and not feel threatened by, like, just because someone believes in something that you don't believe in doesn't mean they're threatening your identity or your own beliefs, right?
Right.
It's who they are. And if you can find that beautiful, the way you see kids, believing in all sorts of fun, wacky stuff, and you find that cute. You say that's adorable, and you say like,
Right.
man, what an imagination you have. And we don't say that as adults anymore. And I get it. Like, there's a difference between imagination and harming each other, but sometimes we're a little too quick to judge, and I don't think that there's a lot of love in judgment.
Yeah. I love that answer. Talking about the people that you've collaborated with, you have, I mean, we've talked about you doing two-handers. You have a really great collection of actors that you've paired up with: Ray Romano, Sarah Paulson. I mean, the list is pretty fantastic. Talk about, I love the pairing of Thomas Haden Church and Diana Agron here, because the two of them look like they could be related, but also they have a really great chemistry. Talk about bringing the two of them onto the project and how you made it really happen so easily. I mean, it looks like it was just a natural connection from the get-go.
Yeah, I'd say Diana and Thomas were, I mean, this doesn't ever happen, but they were the first actors that I reached out to for this film. And so to get my first choice on such a personal project that meant so much to me, it was like, this is a good sign.
Yeah.
And they, they connected with the material. Also a good sign when you send the script to people and they go like, oh, this is your story, but like, it feels like my story too.
Yeah.
I will say Thomas is a bit of an acid man himself, self-proclaimed. Like he, when I was connecting with him, he's like, listen, man, I don't leave the ranch too often.
Right.
He's like, I think I want to do this, but I've been living in isolation for a while. And I was like, challenge accepted. This is what the movie's about, baby. Like, I'm gonna connect with you until you feel like you have no choice but to come out to Oregon and shoot this movie. But yeah, we did a lot of dramatic improv, and Thomas and Diana both had really great creative ideas for the characters that ended up affecting the plot. And there's something I like to do, which is I don't just ask the actors to, find their way into the characters, but like I like to hear what they're liking, and I like to change the characters to help the characters find their way to the actors as well.
Right.
Not that Thomas and Diana need that help. They can chameleon into any character. They're fantastic actors.
Yeah.
But I just wanted them to feel like, I wanted these characters to feel as three-dimensional as possible. And because we were going to do so much improv, I wanted them to feel free to use their own words and feelings to really convey the scenes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Thomas's performance is excellent. I mean, and when you say that he's kind of like gone into hiding, when I saw, that he was in the cast, I was like, man, everybody loves Sideways. And like, you always wonder, like, why don't we see more of him? And that is the feeling that I left with this, because his performance is really excellent. Hopefully you can coerce him to keep doing more work, because it's too good.
I think my next movie, I'm just gonna have to shoot at his ranch.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, don't worry, dude, I'm coming to you.
I love it. I love it. Well, and one of the funny things about this movie, so I watched this movie, and immediately when I'm watching this movie, balloons start showing up all over the country. Yeah. Balloons start getting shot down. And this is a movie about a guy believing in UFOs, and all of those things start happening. Was this just like, this feels like this movie is arriving at the right time. Like, it's just fate for people to have to watch a movie about this? Or was that just really great marketing that you guys were like, let's put some UFOs up in the air and let's do some good marketing, put Acidman on some of these balloons?
That's a great idea. I think I wish I could say that we did the original balloons, but maybe moving forward, we'll put some balloons up in the air. I mean, it's a little disconcerting that they're taking fighter pilots out to blow these balloons up. I don't know that I want to be associated with that. Yeah. But it's a little bit of luck and timing, but this goes back to like the roots of humanity. I mean, since we were cavemen, I'm sure we've been staring up in the sky trying to figure out what stuff was, whether it's lights that didn't blink before we knew what stars were, or today, like we've always looked up and seen things, and we don't necessarily think it's the same thing, and it causes us to have conversations, sometimes disagreements, and I don't know, conversations are how connection is made. So it's like, why not stare into these places of great unknown to
Yeah.
start like the next great conversation and the next great, connection. That I think it's in our DNA.
Yeah. All right. Well, Alex Lehmann, I think I'm going to end it right there because that was just fantastic answers. And I loved the film, and people can start to see Acidman March 31st. And congratulations. Thanks again.
Thank you. Anybody that sees it, please help us get the word out, because we can actually only afford 3 balloons. So the rest is on you. Please spread the word on Acidman.
Awesome. Alex Lehmann, thanks again.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.